Yeah, whoa. Yeah, whoa. Okay, alright, bye. Hello, welcome back to my channel. I am Megan. If you are returning, welcome back. If you're new, thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. It's like 10 p.m. right now. I went to the gym tonight for the first time in like a month and a half. Excuse me. And I just ate a whole plate of fruit because health. And yeah. So my endorphins are still rolling and I can't sleep. So I figured I would make this video. Also, yes, I have my hair tied up in that whole like TikTok robe tie situation. I just really like what it does for my hair. It looks cute, complements the bangs well, which are finally getting trimmed on Tuesday, thank God. And I'm also wearing a Jonas Brothers t-shirt from when I went and saw them last year. So, now that we've got that out of the way, Megan, stop procrastinating. I've been trying to articulate my thoughts on this topic for a very long time. And I knew I wanted to make a video about it. But I just knew I had, and that I wanted to tread about it very lightly. My thoughts on this used to be a lot different. And they changed. And I think it's okay for opinions to change. I think we need to say that more. Because it's just part of growing up and just growing in general, is your opinions changing on things after certain life experiences that you've had, or just after anything. Like, your opinion can just, change. The topic of the fat acceptance movement for me has been a very weird one for a while. I was watching an Obese to Beast video. I think it was like a snippet from like a live stream that he did, but he was responding to and giving commentary on a girl talking about her experience with the fat acceptance movement and how she's no longer involved in it and how it kind of ultimately affected her health really negatively. And watching that, it made me think like, wow, this all sounds really familiar, and it honestly kind of pissed me off because I was like, this is something that I just felt like I wanted to talk about because it is so prevalent right now. I made a script. I made notes. Like, the title is Why Fat Acceptance Kinda Sucks. Because it kinda does suck. And that's what I am going to be talking about today. My first point is that I am not trying to say that body positivity is bad. Body positivity and fat acceptance are two different things, to me anyways, and I think that the fat acceptance movement has kind of overtaken the body positivity movement, which kind of sucks, but it's not all that bad. I just think they're two very different things, and body positivity is super rad and like something that I still am working on and am still a huge advocate for other people. Also, second disclaimer, I am not trying to come at this and come at you with this thinking I am any kind of health nut that knows better than you. There's a lot of people on this platform that talk about the fat acceptance movement and they're so aggressive about it, and the level of arrogance that they portray sometimes is really intimidating and annoying. And I'm not trying to be that person. Lest we forget, I am still over 200 pounds. And I ate Dunkin' Donuts and Chinese takeout today. And I went to the gym for the first time in like a month and a half. So I'm not trying to act like I am better, healthier, whatever than anybody else. This is just my opinion on how the fat acceptance movement has affected my life personally. And obviously, just like this is my opinion, and like, do whatever the fuck you want. Like, whatever makes you happy, that's awesome. But I just want to, as someone who has lost some weight, I want to talk about this because I feel like it was such a big part of my life for such a long time. But obviously, like, do whatever you want. Like, who cares? Who cares? Now that I have those disclaimers out of the way, let's just jump into my story, shall we? So I would say my experience with the whole fat acceptance movement came about when I was about 16 or 17. I can't remember if I was like a senior in high school or like young college, like my first year of college. I can't remember. It was sometime around that point in my life. And it was when I discovered Tess Holliday. And it was before she was actually Tess Holliday. She hadn't gotten married yet. But I did find her on the Instagram. I had never seen someone who looked like me at the time, who had the same kind of body as me, rocking it. Honestly, like, I had not seen that before. And such a public, public platform. If you don't know Tess Holliday, she's a very successful plus size model. She has this brand called F Your Beauty Standards, and it's about like the beauty standards in media and in society and how we need to change them. And I totally 100% back that. I don't 100% back the brand, but I back the concept of the brand. Oh my god, I feel like I'm gonna make a lot of people really mad with this video. So I came about Tess and I did some research into her, and I specifically remember showing her to my mom when we were at dinner at Applebee's. And I'm like, Mom, look at this girl. She's amazing. Like, she's fat and she's beautiful and blah, blah, blah. It was just so cool for me to see, like I said, a fat girl doing all of these things when I, too, was a fat girl. After I discovered Tess, it led me to discover a lot of other fat positive, fat acceptance influencers on Instagram. And I had never felt so excited and so accepted. Never felt so accepted when I discovered the fat acceptance community and the influencers in it. Seeing people that looked like me, modeling, advertising clothes. Like, I'd been a big fashion nerd ever since I can remember, so like seeing women wearing awesome clothes and different clothes that like weren't just like standard plus size clothes was so cool to me. And I do attribute growing up with this movement, kind of being in my adolescence in this movement, I do give that full credit for me developing into me, developing my like general sense of style and realizing that there were other brands out there that I didn't know about. I really got a lot of what, and still how I dress, from this movement. So that's one thing, is that it taught me it's okay to like just be you. And that's never a bad thing. My cats are fighting, so if you hear any like scruffling over there, that's why. When I discovered Tess Holliday, at that point in my life, I'd always been like a generally positive, confident person. My body and my size didn't bother me, although that's how I acted. But in hindsight, I know that that's about the time when it really did start to bother me. I was really excited to finally feel accepted and to finally feel like my body was good and it was beautiful, which it was. And I will say this till I'm blue in the face to anybody who I talk to about like before and after pictures or whatever. I don't consider myself worth any more or any less than I am now, and vice versa. If that makes sense. I hope it makes sense. I do not, like, you are worthy of love and you are worthy of self-love at any body type. And that's where the body positivity thing comes in for me, is I don't think it's a bad thing. I'm getting off track. Let's not get off track. My body was good, and it was just unhealthy. And I didn't want to see that, and entering into the fat acceptance movement really made me blind to that. I have my script broken down into like parts with bullets because that's just how my brain works. This part is called When It Became Kind of Not Great. That's actually what I typed. I think one of the pivotal points for me when the fat acceptance movement became not so great in hindsight, in all, like, when I'm talking about all this throughout this entire time, I was not self-aware, and I didn't really become self-aware until I was about 21 about the state of my body and the state of my life if I kept on going on how I was going. But yeah, so one of, like, the big points that I remember was always subscribing to the idea that I was fat, but, like, I was healthy. My blood work was fine. Like, everything was fine. So I'm fine. That's one of the big things I always remember thinking, and that's one of the main things the fat acceptance community preaches, is the whole health at every size thing, which I do not. Having been both sides of the spectrum, I know that is not true. One of the other things I remember is I remember thinking that my doctors were being unnecessarily harsh to me because of my weight, and that all of my health problems that I was having at the time were being blamed on my weight without actually looking into them, which I do believe is an issue. I really do. I got treated like that a lot with my mental health stuff. I've lost 115-ish pounds, and my mental health hasn't gotten really any better, so I think that got kind of written off. But it's like, looking back at some of the health problems I did have, they were weight related, and I just didn't want to face it. That's another thing that is preached a lot in the fat acceptance movement, is that your doctor's weighing you. I've actually seen this. Your doctor's weighing you at your appointment is fat phobic, which I think is the biggest crock of bullshit ever. If you are at a certain weight at a certain age, they have to start screening you for if you need a certain medication. And I know this because I was on that medication. I feel like I'm getting kind of spicy in this video, and I'm sorry. It's just, like, I've been gathering my thoughts about this for, like, the entire week, which is why there wasn't a video on Wednesday, because I knew I needed to save my filming energy for this video in order for it to be articulate. Yeah. Another thing that I kind of just threw to the wayside was eating any kind of nutritious food, good for me food, and only eating what made me happy, because I felt like it was a form of self-care and self-love, which I still do think that no foods should be ever cut out. That is not a thing. Moderation is key. At this point in my life, I was treating it as a very big extreme, and I ate like garbage, because those foods, I don't know the science, but they just make you feel good. And I was like, who the fuck cares? Like, I'm fat, the world just has to, like, deal with it, and I'm gonna eat what I want. I distinctly remember, which I don't even know if this friend remembers doing this, but I remember this because it pissed me off so much. But in now, I'm like, wow, she cared about me and my health when I didn't. We were at another friend's house, and we were eating pizza, and I was eating so much pizza and, like, bread, and which, like, same still, but, like, moderation. I remember we were eating so much pizza and bread, or I was eating so much pizza and bread, excuse me, and my friend, like, I don't remember what exactly they said. She just made a comment about how much I had eaten at that point. And I remember being so taken aback, kind of embarrassed, but, like, honestly, I needed to hear that because I stopped, I think. I remember, I don't know if I stopped, but I just remember that. And now that I have kind of learned those cues myself of, like, when to stop eating, I'm like, holy shit, she was just looking out for me. But I was so offended and embarrassed. But I didn't say anything because I'm just that kind of a person. I just distinctly remember that. But at that point, I was kind of like, I'm fat, deal with it, I'm gonna eat what I want, and you're gonna be fat phobic, And that's such a toxic way of thinking. You're putting your life on the fast track. And that's exactly what I was doing, because I didn't care. Because I just wanted everybody to accept me because I was fat, because that's how I felt that it should be. And yes, do I think fat people are unfairly treated in our society? Abso-fucking-lutely. I will preach that till I'm blue in the face. I may not be plus size anymore, but when a plus size person is winning, I'm still winning. I still believe in that. I believe that that is truly a thing, that fat people, plus size people, whatever, are treated very unfairly in our society. I just want to put that out there as well. Okay, my camera cut off, but we're back. So I'm just going to start off on a new point, I guess. So when it got kind of not great, per my notes, the biggest, like, overarching thing was I started to feel like the world was against me as a fat person. Which, like I just said, in some ways it is. And I am not going to ever deny that, because it is. I've lived both sides of the coin, and I'm still not super, like, thin, but I've lived both sides of that coin, for the most part. And I do know that fat people are unfairly treated in our society. That is a thing, and that's something that I will not deny. But the mindset of thinking everybody's against you because you're fat, that's such a bad mindset for yourself. It wasn't good. And as like a 16, 17-year-old young adult thinking these things, it was not good. So, yes, that is a thing that fat people have to deal with. I feel like they just kind of like amp you up to keep believing these things, and it just gets to be a very negative mindset to be in. Part of me filming this video is that I wanted to kind of spill some tea about where my life was when I hit my highest weight after being in the fat acceptance mindset for probably like 4 years. I made a list. By the age of 21, I had hit 315 pounds. In no way, shape, or form is that healthy. I was 315 pounds. Still, when I hit that weight, that's when I really started to be like, ooh, like not, like really not happy with myself and my appearance. But yeah, by the age of 21, 315 pounds. That's the highest I ever remember weighing. And also, something that I just did not focus on for the longest time, which is so stupid. I was pre-diabetic, guys. And I was pre-diabetic. I was diagnosed at the age of 16 or like 17. Still, really young to be diagnosed with these issues. I was on medication for it. I was pre-diabetic. And I just didn't care. I think part of it is just teenage stupidity. But I think a lot of it too was I saw all these people who looked like me and were fat like me just living their lives, going about their lives, seemingly not caring about anything that was going on with their body. And yeah, I just did not give a shit about being pre-diabetic. And in hindsight, I'm like, Megan, like, that was huge. What were you thinking? I don't understand how that was not, like, the big, like, thing that it should have been, but it just wasn't. 315 pounds, pre-diabetic. Third thing, which this was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back for me and made me realize, like, yo, Megan, shit's gotta change, was I went in for some routine blood work. I think it was for, like, a physical or something, and it came back, and I got this long-ass letter in the mail. And it was like, hey, Megan, your liver enzymes are, like, really bad. I don't really know what the issue was, but they just weren't what they were supposed to be by, like, a long shot. And my liver function was also not good. I went to art school, so if I'm not describing any of this correctly, like, just bear with me. But my liver, she wasn't working as it should for a 21-year-old person. And they told me in the letter that if I kept on going how I was going, I was going to develop fatty liver disease, and I just did not want that, and that's what scared me. Forget being 315 pounds, forget being pre-diabetic at the age of 16, but my liver being weird was what did it for me. Keeping track, 315 pounds at the age of 21. Pre-diabetic at the age of 16, liver function not what it should be at the age of like 20 or 21. Other not really like medical things was I was just struggling. Like I was Walking across my very small university campus was hard for me. A 5-minute walk would make me feel winded and my legs would hurt. Like, that was kind of a thing. Or, not kind of a thing. It was a thing. I just overall felt really uncomfortable, and the best way that I can describe it is I could feel my body just trying to be a body. I don't think people will understand what I mean when I say that unless they've also felt something similar. And that was when I decided that it was something had to give, was when I truly was just struggling to just do basic functions. And don't forget, please, what it did for my mental health. Like, putting on weight, eating bad, all that stuff, it just made me feel really awful. Like, forget all the physical things that were going on with me, I just felt like crap. And I kept denying it because I'm like, Megan, you're just fat, like, it's just how it's gonna be, you've been fat your whole life, like, think of Tess Holliday, she's fat and she loves it, nah. It was really not a great time in my life, especially when I was, like, older and, towards the end, before I started to actually take weight loss seriously. I was just really mentally not great, just felt like I was struggling, If I could, put a bullet list, I would say 315 pounds by the age of 21, diagnosed with prediabetes, and on medication at the age of 16 or 17, I don't remember what. Liver function, not what it should be at the age of 20 or 21. Not able to walk across campus for 5 minutes without being out of breath. And overall just feeling really shitty about myself. My body feeling shitty, not being able to work how it's supposed to work. And yes, all this by the ripe old age of 21 years old. This is something that I struggle with my weight loss. I should talk about this in therapy next week because I haven't brought it up yet. But I do struggle with the fact that I let myself get that out of control, and that just willy-nilly with my life, basically, because that's what it was. I do really struggle with that, and I think a lot of it was perpetuated by constantly seeing all these fat activists and fat acceptance people living their life and not talking about any of the bad stuff that comes with being morbidly obese, because that's the fact of the matter, is I was morbidly obese, and so are all these people, and they're pretending like nothing's wrong, and having been there, I can tell you that something's wrong, and if it's not wrong yet, it will be. But for me, it was wrong at the age of 20. And that's just what it was. In conclusion, I feel like I'm giving a speech right now, but I had to come prepared. I'm really not trying to come off as a dick in this video. That is not my intention. I am not trying to offend anybody. I'm just trying to open people's eyes to how toxic this mindset can be, and how life-threatening, honestly, it can be. And I don't think the fat acceptance movement is inherently bad. And like I said, I developed a lot of my personal style from being in this community for so long. And that's something that I can't fault it for, because I learned that dressing your own way and having your own style is an okay thing to do and is a great thing to do. And I learned it from all of these people. So I can't say that it's all bad, but I just think it's spreading a false narrative about morbid obesity that needs to be kaput. I think everybody should be okay with, and this is more body positivity, I think everybody should be okay with their body the way it is now, and make the positive steps to make it how you would like it to be. And if that's to be fat, who am I to stop you? Do what you want to do, right? Yeah. I used to work at an activewear store, and it was super awesome. I made a lot of really cool relationships with people, and I would get these, and it was primarily a women's activewear store, and And you had these women that came in and they were like, I'm fat, what can we do? And like, I know that's really like, it's just like, but I used to think like that, and I still do think like that. I think like that more than I did when I actually was super fat, right? But I would always tell them, if you can't fix it within 30 seconds, don't dwell on it, and make the changes that you would like to change, or that you would like to make you the happiest version of you that you can be. And I stand by that, and I still tell people that, and I'm trying to implement that myself. Genuinely feel like the fat acceptance movement made me feel like the damage and the harm that I was doing to my body was okay. Because it was coming from a place of self-care and self-love, because I was feeding my body what I wanted to eat. And obviously I wanted to eat trash. Just think that the fat acceptance movement and the individuals in it that I followed just kind of perpetuated that, and I'm not putting the blame on them at all. What I did was 100% me. But I just think seeing all of these people presumably living happy, healthy lives made me think that what I was doing was okay. And it just kind of like pushed me along, saying like, yes, Megan, it is okay. It's all right. Keep doing what you're doing. Doing great. But I was not doing great. On the opposite end of this spectrum, I have delved into so many fitness Instagrams, YouTube channels, whatever, and I feel like on the opposite side of this video, I could also make a video about why the fitness community a lot of times on social media also kind of sucks. Because I am now just getting to the point, like, Megan, you don't have to be a health guru, you don't have to be a fitness nut, you just have to be healthy, and that's all that matters. But before I was getting to this point, another reason why I started therapy, I was so fixated on these just fitness nuts where like all they did was go to the gym and eat plain chicken and broccoli. And that also screws with your head. And that's not good either. So if you want to see me make that video, which honestly will require a little bit more research because I didn't grow up with it and I haven't been in that community for very long. But if you want to see that video, leave a comment down below or like this video or something, because I would be very interested in making something like that as well. Overall, I just needed to get my opinions out on this topic because while I do support the body positivity movement wholeheartedly, I do not support the fat acceptance movement or the health at every size movement, because I think as a whole, they're just not good, and they don't promote good things, and they're dangerous to people. That's all I really have to say. Thank you for making it this far. I know this has probably been a very long video, but I just wanted to sit in my bed and chat about my feelings on this topic. Hopefully I did it in the way that I wanted to, and I don't want to offend anybody. I just wanted to share my experience. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, I talk about a bunch of other lifestyle things, and sometimes I cook, sometimes I vlog. You know, I'm just kind of here, making videos, talking to myself. So if you liked it, subscribe. I'm trying to build a family here, and I would really like it if you joined. So, yeah. I love and appreciate you all. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!